Okay, white people, today is June 16th, the day the youth of Soweto rose up to take on actual oppression. Not this bullshit oppression where you can have a 5-bedroom house and still act like you're having a hard time. Oh no, my rates bill is genociding me. Because in 1994, my white South African jelly babies, we got let off. And we know it, don't we? Why do you think we all love Nelson Mandela so much? At the very least, we owe a people of color an immense debt of gratitude. And if you don't know that, you're a racist or an idiot or both. Apartheid was a crime against humanity. Yeah, it's not the same as the Holocaust, but with slavery and colonialism, it's definitely in the same book. Do you understand what type of prick you have to be to benefit from apartheid and then tell people of color to get over it? Let's start with the basics. Every white South African has benefited from apartheid, no exceptions. That's not a stereotype, it's a straight up fact. Thinking you as a white South African didn't benefit from apartheid is like thinking you can go to ShopRite and not see a broken trolley. Apartheid was a system of laws that applied to all white people, not some white people, all of them. It was preferential employment, preferential land ownership, preferential business rights, preferential mineral rights, preferential education, preferential voting rights, preferential citizenship, preferential everything for white people for generations. The only way for you as a white South African to not at some level have benefited from apartheid is if your family lived in a cave for 200 years. And the only way to live in a cave for 200 years is with incest. So as a white South African, either you benefited from apartheid or your dad is also your cousin. Do you know that many Germans were forced to go see what had been done in their name after the Holocaust? White South Africans have never had the same happen to them. All we had was our racist uncle going, yeah, Nelson Mandela is one of the good ones. And before you rattle off about there being 142 race laws, there aren't. It's been debunked repeatedly. You might as well tell us you believe in tokoloshis and fairies. Now, there are a lot of great white people who know this stuff, but based on how these Afrikaner refugees are behaving, some of you are in complete denial. On a daily basis, my comment section has someone going, apartheid ended 30 years ago. Why are we still talking about it? Let me explain. Apartheid was a business plan to force black people into a system of semi-slavery and drive wealth into white hands. It was planned by a dude called Cecil John Rhodes and doubled down by the actual apartheid state. And that economic system hasn't ended. 62% of senior management is still white, and we're still by miles the most employed, safest, healthiest group in the country. In other words, pumpkins, current South Africa is just apartheid without the guilt. Now, a lot of you are rightly asking, yeah, but there are lots of middle-class black people these days. And yes, that's a good and tragic thing at the same time, because instead of ending apartheid, a lot of black people have just got in on the deal. That being said, if your parents were broke because of apartheid, they don't suddenly now have a retirement plan, do they? Most black South Africans are carrying economic burdens and struggles most white South Africans will never, ever have to face, except the ones with Stanley Cups. Your cup is as big as a shack. What the hell are you doing? And then you're going to rightly say, yeah, but the ANC should have done more. Yes, they should have. But why do you think South Africa has such a shortage of African leadership? We spent 60 years throwing them all in jail, denying them access to education and finances. Complaining about the ANC now is like going to Kokstad and wondering why no one there's taken up surfing. I'm not saying the ANC is good, but white South Africans are in no position to be arrogant about it, and I've nailed the ANC to their faces harder than almost anyone you can name. Just to be very clear, I'm not blaming you for apartheid itself, because that would be ridiculous. But just because you didn't order the pizza doesn't mean you didn't eat. You see, racism's like a kid in Crocs. It's not the kid's fault it's wearing Crocs. Its parents made it wear Crocs. We're only judging you if you're still wearing Crocs. So take off the frickin' Crocs. It's the kind and decent thing to do. Let's stop walking around being abrasive, racist assholes. Let's be slightly humble about what has happened in this country, because the way the DA is acting, they only want black people to get the land back when they're frickin' buried in it. Yes, I think Julia should stop singing that song Kill the Boer, purely because it's not achieving the results it needs to. But let's make no mistake, the Kill the Boer is a song about killing the racist hierarchy I just explained, because Boer is a metaphor for whiteness. And you know who told us it's a metaphor for whiteness? The actual Boer themselves. What is a far more violent song than Dubuli Bunu is apartheid's actual soundtrack, D-Stem, the lyrics of which have been crowbarred into our national anthem. Not only have we not paid back what we got from apartheid, we're making people of color sing, it's stupid soundtrack. Michael Kamape, a 5-year-old black child, drowned in shit in the pit toilet at his school. 34 miners were shot down at Marikana for demanding an end to the exact borderline slavery that Cecil John Rhodes set up. 144 elderly black people were left to die at Life Isidimeni. The face of poverty and injustice in this country is black and brown, and until we admit that and demand justice for all South Africans instead of just these chance takers, reconciliation is off the table, and anyone who argues is the one being divisive. But what do I know? I'm just a puppet. What are you looking at?
It's you.
I'm looking at you and you looking at me. It's getting weird. We're on the internet. There's no scenario where this is normal, bro. Jeez.
I was waiting for you to talk.
And I was waiting for you to talk. Do you see what happened there? This could have been for an hour. People are using up their data on the internet. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the second live episode of A Real Problem with Just the Missing. Hello, studio audience. Yep, that's what happens if you give away free tickets on the internet. People come listen to a puppet talking cock. But this is a show on politics, so that's what it's all about. Puppets talking cock. Guys, I don't even know where to start. We have failed poor people in this country. So I've invited an activist who's been on the ground fighting for justice for poor people for frickin' years. It's Axolile Notywala. Hey, Axolile, thanks for coming, man.
How's it, Chester? Good to be here.
It's good
to be with you again.
And you're in the council at Parliament or whatever, the Western Cape things.
Yeah. I'm in the city council now in Cape Town.
So you're a unique breed, a thin politician.
Wow. Thank you.
You must be the only one.
I've been warned about that.
Because John Steenhuisen looks like he ate you.
Probably ate a piece of me.
No, definitely. That's what colonialism was. Listen, be honest with me, Axolile. Do the DA people call you Axolile or Axolile?
All those things.
All those things.
All those things.
Heard every version.
Can't pronounce my name.
Yeah, no, I can imagine they've done some. Listen, thanks for coming. You really have been on the ground helping poor South Africans for years, and I've always loved your work. Can you explain to people who have no frickin' clue what it's like for a poor person in South Africa? And when I say someone who has no clue, I mean Fikile Mbalula. Take us what is it like for poor South Africans? Let's really break it down. Like life from waking up in a shack, those outside toilets you showed me years ago in Khayelitsha, getting to work, your children. Take us through it.
Yeah, so, those outside toilets that we spoke about, I think it was just over 10 years ago.
Yeah, on New Way, just near New Way in Khayelitsha there.
Those people in Khayelitsha, in Areff section, are still using those toilets, those bucket toilets. It's just that, as you said now, they moved from being black to being white. But it's still...
They're going in the wrong direction!
It's still those same bucket toilets. And even yesterday, I was walking around Khayelitsha, and you see sewage flowing in the streets of Khayelitsha. It's difficult to drive in Khayelitsha, but I have to be there to try and meet with the people. We're dodging potholes all the time. And the city of Cape Town only responds when I post something on Twitter. Otherwise, if you talk to them normally, they don't do anything for Khayelitsha, for Manenberg, for Mitchells Plain, for all the townships and the Cape Flats. It's really, really difficult. It speaks to the fact that the reason why out of the 240 gang murders that we had in the country, just about 200 of them were in the Western Cape.
Wait, just say that again.
Out of
240, in what period of time? In a year?
In a space of 3 months.
3 months, 240 gang murders.
Gang murders.
And 200 of them were in the Western Cape.
About 204 of them, I think, were in the Western Cape. And
wow.
The DA doesn't really connect that to the underlying socio-economic issues of poverty, unemployment, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, all those things. The DA is doing nothing about those things.
You lying bastard, scoundrel, buffet-eating motherfuckers. Sorry I swore. But I had to. That's insane.
Yeah, they think that you can just throw police at the issue. And while you're doing that, you're taking more people into prison. They come back. They are hardened criminals. So they continue. That's why we now have a problem of organized crime.
Yeah.
That's why we have extortionists. That's why we have gang. That's organized crime.
Yeah.
Because they take them to prison, they graduate, they become stronger criminals there. That's the issue. And the toilets are a mess. We call that the CAC struggle. That's the CAC struggle that we still have in Cape Town and in many other parts of the country.
Because you see, the thing is, for people who are not from Cape Town, if you go to like the City Bowl, if you go to Rondebosch, if you go to Wynberg, if you go to Tokai, there's no running sewage in the street. There's no potholes.
Not at all. Not
So
at all.
why is it that there's two different Cape Towns? Why don't they just fix the potholes everywhere? That just seems kind of weird. Or they just straight up racist.
It's apartheid mentality. We still have spatial apartheid. It's maintained by the current government. They're not doing anything to try and fix that. Everything that they do this separate development, that they develop more from this side where we are. That side, they don't care what happens.
Okay, look, man, you're on your Instagram, you posted a video you shot in Greenpoint.
Yeah.
In Khayelitsha. Now, firstly, studio audience, did any of you know there was a Greenpoint in Khayelitsha? I didn't know. Is there a Constantia there too?
Let's just Greenpoint.
Dude, I wonder how many German tourists that's confused. My goodness, we're going to Greenpoints, but it doesn't look like the pictures.
That's why I had to explain. That it's a different Greenpoint. It's not that one where the wealthy and predominantly white people are.
That's not what you said. It's not where Kayat Langa goes. Be
Exactly. Yes. It's not where Kayat Langa and friends normally go.
Burn all the Instagram selfie struggle heroes. Listen, okay, can you explain to our audience here what happened in Greenpoint in Khayelitsha, why you were telling this story? It's a tragic story.
It is. So a friend and comrade of mine, I grew up with him. I also grew up in Greenpoint. It was during COVID, I think 2022. His nephew was two years old. He was walking out of the street from his house, going to play, and he fell in a manhole that was open. That had been reported numerous times, but the city hadn't come to fix it, and tragically died. And soon, few hours after his death, the city pitched up and fixed it, because now there's a death of a child. Similar incidents in Philippi, I don't know if you know of the stories of three or four kids.
No, I don't know the story.
That were electrocuted. They were crossing, there's a damp water, there were electricity lines. Because there's no proper electricity, they were playing around that water, they got electrocuted and
they walked in the water and they got killed.
They were crossing the water, but because there were lines that were in the water that come from
so
electricity.
So that has never happened. First of all, okay, why didn't we hear about your friend? Why aren't we hearing about this? Why is there no outrage? Why are poor black children being genocided and we're not... Why aren't we going to... It's black children being genocided and not some rich guy with a 5-bedroom house.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you see that guy? He had a 5-bedroom house. There's no sewage hole in his house where his kids can drown. You lying bastard. Why are we not hearing about these stories, Axolile?
It's because they are black and colored children that died in both the stories. In Khayelitsha, in Philippi, a child died in Delft playing in a play park that was not being maintained. There's a lot of these stories. So for kids who are black and colored, it seems like they are not afforded the right to play. Children must have that right to play. And
they should be able to go in the streets and not have your parents worried you're going to fall in a drain and drown in
or in a pothole or in sewerage and you die. All
the white refugees spoke kak. Meanwhile, black kids are drowning in kak. It's the most tragic joke ever.
Definitely.
Don't laugh. It's horrific. Listen. I need to understand. We often get used to the fact that Cape Town, we get told, we've gotten used to the idea that Cape Town is nice like Instagram. Is that your phone? Is that Helen Ziller phoning to talk about us? I think it's Jordan Lewis angry.
It might be.
He's lying. None of this is true. I'm the best run city in the world. Listen, man, the idea is that Cape Town's nice like Instagram is nice. It's nice because we have a filter. Really, it's just freaking ugly. Do you think the rest of the country is any better?
No, definitely not. It's just that, as I said on Instagram in some of the posts, that the places that are well taken care of are where the rich, and it's not just white now, it's also the black middle class that lives in those areas are taken care of. Where the poor, most marginalized in most of the country, those areas are not taken care of. And we must blame people like Kaya Dlanga, who also continue to maintain that status. The black middle class needs to introspect, particularly in places such as Cape Town and Johannesburg. What are they doing to make sure that they're not only standing up for themselves, but standing up for the majority?
Amandla, yeah.
Because once poor people get angry, once poor people get fed up, we are all going to be in trouble.
I think that's very powerful. That is probably the most important thing for people to understand is, I have a lot of people come at me when I talk about racism and they're saying, oh no, Chester, you're being divisive. They say, I can't tell you, if I had a rand for every time, I would be Patrice Motsepe. They literally, every time, you're being divisive by mentioning the racism, instead of the actual racism being divisive. And for me, this thing you've mentioned is the most divisive fact in our country, that we have poor kids who are getting electrocuted and drowning in drains, and these people are expected to receive this life over and over again. Those toilets you showed me, I remember you said that if you go there at night, the chances of getting raped are high because people, there's no protection. Listen, 31 years into democracy, okay, we still have poor black kids drowning in open toilets, etc. How many South Africans, for how many South Africans I'm totally messing up the way I'm saying this. For many South Africans, apartheid's not over, Axolile. What has gone wrong? Did Jacob Zuma steal freedom? Did Ramaphosa sell it? Did John Steenhuisen eat it for lunch? What's happened?
All of them have been involved in making sure that these things continue to happen. ANC, DA, whoever has been in power, we've had some of the most terrible leaders. And not only that we still have. Some of them have been there since 1994 in Parliament. Why are they still there? Those people need to go. We need fresh blood. We need people that understand, because these days we talk about the politics of care. People that understand what that means, what it means to be a politician that cares, not for their own pocket, but care for the most marginalized in society.
Axolile, you realize that you are never going to get a tender with this attitude. I'm sorry, you're just off the list. You're never going to get any BEE deal if you keep saying this annoying cock. They are never. Panyaza Lesufi has crossed you off his phone. You are never getting phoned by the Guptas. Do you understand?
I know. I understand that.
Yeah, well, do better.
I'm not doing this for tenders, so I don't care.
There we go, in your face. Listen, you and maybe only you. Look, if you were so pro-poor, why aren't you supporting MK or the EFF? Aren't they the left wing? Aren't they the pro-poor people?
MK is a terrible political party. Also, the leader of that party is someone that was president for 9 years in this country, and he contributed to these problems that we have.
Hang on, Jacob Zuma contributed to the problems.
Yeah, definitely.
So we had apartheid, and then we had some more Jacob Zuma. I mean, that's a terrible thing you're saying.
People that we thought were gonna take us out of this just contributed by just stealing and stealing and stealing and stealing.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the terrible parties that we have in South Africa.
So I think that MK and EFF use the word left like when your house gets robbed. There's nothing left.
There's nothing left. There's nothing left, definitely. The EFF is a better party. It's not as terrible as MK, but also some of the way in which they do politics, sometimes people run away from that. And so that's why I haven't joined those parties.
Because I have seen situations where the EFF have stood up. I know I don't like the Louis Vuitton vibes, and I don't like the VBS vibes, and Julius looks like he ran Limpopo, like his personal fiefdom. But I do get like it's his own tuck shop. But I do need to. I'm confused because some of their councillors do seem like they care about the poor, but overall our political class has completely failed South Africans.
Definitely, we have an elite, and again, it has moved in terms of being just a racial elite or a white elite. It's now a mixed elite, black, colored, Indian, all those people that are part of the elite. They're enjoying what they're enjoying. And
The
again,
Rainbow Nation is just multiracial classism. Well
we'll-
done. High
we'll
and five.
continue to warn
What-
them.
Nelson Mandela achieved his dream. We all get to look down on poor people the same. Listen, the DA claims that if we build the economy, everyone will benefit, right? And the ANC claims it's all about creating jobs through transformation. And Herman Mashaba thinks, I'm kidding, he doesn't think. What do you think the answer is? Should we just get Vusi Thembekwayo to run the country? What should we ask Kayat Langa to e-wallet us? What must we do?
we need to get these people out. We need to get all of them out. We need fresh blood. We need young people to come over and take. And we see in Parliament some of the young people that are starting to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Not Liam Jacobs.
No shame. Oh
He's
my
not
God.
definitely not that caliber.
So, do you guys know who Liam Jacobs is? It's that young colored guy in the DA who went to Israel and decided there was no apartheid there.
Exactly. So
Bloody
if you have people like that
moron.
mentality,
Yeah, no,
they are
it's
going
crazy.
to deny the spatial apartheid that we live with in South Africa as well. If you denied apartheid in Israel, they do deny the spatial apartheid that we have in Cape Town. It's not those calibers that we need. We need fresh blood, people that understand these areas and these communities.
Axolile, why are the people who know this not making it through the ranks? Why aren't the people on the ground? Because, you know, the people in Khayelitsha knows who has their interests, I would guess. So why aren't they making it through the political system so we get better leaders? What is blocking people like yourself coming up the ranks?
Party politics are a mess in South Africa. People don't trust parties. I didn't trust parties for a long time, up until I got fed up to a point that we need someone on the inside, because
Yeah.
we've always been shouting on the outside,
Yeah.
but realize that the people on the inside don't listen.
No.
We need to change the way in which we do politics so that people can feel welcome in parties. Currently, people hate political parties.
Yeah, I hate political parties.
I hate political parties, and I'm in a political party.
Why is that the case? Why aren't people able to make it accessible? Why can't they just go? Like, what's blocking them?
It's because people are there for their pockets. So if there's more of us, there's less to share in terms of the money that people get in these parties. If these people stop caring about money more than the issues that are there, then people can be able to start to trust political parties. Also, they lie. That's the thing. Politicians lie. We've had many lies.
Hang on, are
in
you saying
2024.
politicians lie?
Yes,
No.
politicians lie.
Really? Oh, I would never have guessed. This has ruined my day. I had no idea that they tell lies. No. I always looked at Fikile and Bulula and thought, that guy's telling the truth.
It's those lies that people, it feels like when elections come, more and more people are not pitching out to vote. And that's why the DA gets to win in Cape Town, because the white people that benefit from the DA governance go out and vote. But the black and colored people who do not get to benefit, they sit at home because why should they go out?
Are
and
you
vote?
saying that if there was a credible opposition to the DA in the Western Cape, that the DA would lose because voter apathy would cease? Like, people would go out and they'd say, Futsek, go, tsek.
Yes, definitely. If there's a credible opposition that doesn't engage people just for voting, engage people on a daily basis to deal with their issues, that's the type of opposition
Yeah, because they do only arrive.
Yeah.
They're like relatives who only phone you on Christmas because they're going to get a present.
Exactly. That's the issue. That's the problem.
Okay, I understand what's going on here. That's nuts. I guess it must be very difficult because, I mean, how do you get money to start that party? I don't even know where you're with. You went to Rise, which is a cuck name for a party. You sound like you're a type of yeast or a Viagra for politicians. And then you with Good, and so you Rise Good, which now sounds like it's clean porn. I don't know.
We're rising for good.
Rising for Good. Okay, all right, calm down. Who are you with?
I'm with both parties currently.
Oh my God, you snuck. I'll be with anyone. I'm like the honest Muswanele Amani.
I'm like in a loan deal. So
Yes,
Rise,
you're a side chick.
loans
That's wild.
They loaned me to the Good
Who?
party.
You're being loaned to Good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's kind of weird. That's really, this Songezo Zibi said, oh, you can have him for a month, yeah. He's yours. He's just too honest for us. We're never going to get any money with the cup this guy's doing. No one. The Oppenheimers, none of them will give me money. This guy's just way too frickin' honest. He must... No, you can have him, Auntie Pat, yeah. Listen. Are you okay, dude? I know I'm falling down here. What, Mike? I don't even realize this, but I have a white guy's hand in my ass. I'm not unlike Songezo Zibi, so...
No comment.
Hang on, there's... Oh, my God, it happened again. My hand broke. Sorry, my hand broke. Sorry, can you fix my hand? Just put it on the table. Just there. Just put it on. Thank you. Donkey. Can you get the other one? Sorry. Okay. This is Tuma. He's our apprentice comedian. He's a very funny comedian, but he's here helping us today. We're not paying him, so he might be cuck and we can't fight him about it.
Yeah, corruption all over again. Corruption all over again. I'm not getting paid, Axolile.
Amandla, yeah, white people expecting people of color to work for free. Take it away, Tuma.
Come on, Chester. Axolile, first of all, thank you very much for the work that you do. I've been following you on Instagram for some time. I've been attending a few spatial, Nifunugwazi meetings and all those. I wanted to ask, in your first 10 months as a council member in the city of Cape Town, now that you're inside, what insights do you have? What have you learned and from the people who are inside? And also, are there people who are speaking the same language, not isiXhosa, but the same language?
Thanks for clarifying that, because that sounded kind of tribalist-y. Kuluma Zulu or fuck off?
Yeah, no Zulu in Cape Town, Chester. But yeah, are there people who are speaking the same language as you within the council?
So, first question is that I realized what I normally saw in Parliament in terms of just unseriousness, it's the same in the council. There's 231 councillors in the city of Cape Town. Those people, most of those people are unserious. They don't prepare for meetings, they don't read agendas, because council agendas are like this big, because there's a lot that gets, because it's only once a month. But I realize that many people are just unserious. They either don't want to do that or they are not capable in terms of doing that. So we need to start even getting new leaders at the local level, because the closest government that we have to the people is local government. If we don't deal with that, we are gonna be in trouble. I don't know of any councillors that because I still take myself as an activist. It's just that my activism is now in council, inside council. At least with my caucus, there's only 9 councillors for good, trying to get them to that activism as well. I don't know of any others within council that are doing the same.
And my final question before Chester goes on and around here.
He asks a lot of questions. I know it's a weird. I thought this was a funny time to complain about people being unserious while he's talking to a frickin' puppet. Ask your question, Kuma.
I'll be done. So you obviously fighting spatial, social, and economic and environmental justice, helping to get poor people housing. How do I get housing quickly?
Oh no, I knew this would eventually be about him wanting to, he's an animator, he doesn't need help. Why? Is this literally you or asking for people that aren't you?
I'll be honest, it's for me.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
I can't believe he wants to stay at your house. Answer him, how does Kuma get housing?
The only way people get housing quickly is through corrupt deals. But that's not what we want, because the state is not delivering enough houses. So the few houses that they deliver, it's people that sell some of these houses. We have a challenge, particularly when you talk about social housing, because the whole idea of social housing recognized that apartheid displaced people. And so social housing is meant to say, where there is prime land, whether in Constantia and Sea Point, in Greenpoint, build for poor people. And the rich can also stay with those poor people, but they have to subsidize those that cannot afford. But the state has failed in making sure that there's social housing, so that we bridge that divide, racial and class divide across the country, failed in Cape Town, in the Western Cape, and across the country.
What is social housing? Because it sounds like where Pearl Tusi lives. Like, woo! I'm having a social.
So social housing is for people that earn between, I think, 1,800 and 22,000 rands. So those people can then get rental accommodation that is low, at least, because living in Cape Town is expensive.
It's
the
crazy
most
expensive. It's nuts. The Germans driving the price of housing up those. Send them all to Greenpoint in Khayelitsha.
So instead of building more social housing, what the city does, they sell the land to private developers.
Why do they do that?
Developers, because they want money. Because they are in the pockets of these private developers. Because the DA gets money
Isn't that
from
just
these
straight
private
up
developers.
corruption?
It is, but
That's just state capture for the DA.
they wouldn't call it corruption for
It's
the
corruption.
DA. But
You're
it's
selling
corruption.
land. That's literally what colonialism was. Okay, Jordan van Riebeck Hill Lewis.
That's a good name.
Yeah, that is actually his middle name. I've always been saying. Hill is literally land, so that's why he's selling it. Hill Lewis. It sounds like a furniture store and a hill at the same time. There was a Lewis joke, but they didn't laugh at all. Listen, Helen Zille might be the next mayor of Johannesburg. Do you have any advice for Joburg?
Run.
Fucking run!
Run.
Run! Go, you guys are toast.
Even run to Lesotho.
Yeah, they're going to turn Soweto into a different province by the time she's done. It's nuts. I don't think they can run to Lesotho because Donald Trump's trying to find it. Listen, we're going to open up one last chance because we ran out of time. Any one of our special guests that came through today, thanks for coming, guys. Any of you got any questions for the amazing Axolile? Okay, one of them's got a question. Here we go. There's a question from the floor. This is the first time this has ever happened.
Thank you all. I just wanted to ask in terms of the bucket system and any other program that comes after that. There's so much hype when it's launched, but are there any follow-ups or any pressure groups that follow up on this? Because it's supposed to be temporary, but it ends up being permanent.
Yeah.
Are there any pressure groups that force this situation to become permanent? And you spoke about the kids that tragically died in Philippi and Khayelitsha. Is there any other means besides taking legal action, like a class action suit against the city to pressure the city to actually deliver on their promises?
Sure. Let me start
That guy's questions are better than my questions. You're not welcome back, dude, whoever you are. I can't see you because my eyes don't work. We have your name somewhere. Answer his clever questions then, Axolile.
So there are a number of organizations in many of these communities that work around to change these things and against the bucket system. Because, I mean, there's an informal settlement it was close to where we were having the interview, BM section. It's 40 years old. It's been an informal settlement for 40 years old. And they've used the bucket system since their existence. So there are organizations, but still the challenge is that the people on the inside just refuse to listen. And so it's the same thing over and over again. In terms of your second question, I am actually working with some comrades on a campaign called The Right to Play. And so the friend whose nephew had died, we engaging with lawyers around taking that up. And so we are engaging with other families who've lost kids around due to neglect of the city. So it's just one part, the legal side, but also build a mass campaign across Cape Town with families who have faced similar situation, but also families in general, because even if they haven't faced those situations, it's very likely because of the context of Cape Town that kids might be injured or die in the near future.
That was a solid answer. Right to play. I love it. I love it. You're a genius. Can I ask you one last question before we wrap up?
Sure.
You've said you don't want to get a tender. If someone sends you one, can you send it my way, please?
Definitely.
I'm more than happy to take your
I'll
tender.
forward it to you.
Yeah, thank
I'll
you.
forward it
My
to you.
my Gmail address is tamsanka@gmail.com. That's how I get all my tenders. Axolile, you're an absolute disgrace. You're not even remotely a capitalist. I don't know how you survive. You literally in your second hand. I love you. You're a genius. You're a hero, and we need more people like you. Follow him on the socials. What's your social media?
Axolile Notywala.
The white people, spell it for the white people.
It's Axolile. That's my name. My surname is Notywala.
There we
That's
go.
me.
And if you can say it, you get to join the good party. I don't. That is the cuckest name for a party. And so is Rise, but we love you. Go follow, subscribe, like, share, and go to his Pornhub channel. It's amazing. Thank you. Bye. Go, Axolile, leave.
Thank you.
I WhatsApp Steenhuis and he knows you're here. He heard all the cuck you said.